mean, even if I know it's a low FPS, like what can I do about it? Unless I make you
Yeah.
stream, even though you don't have the assets. Oh well, we'll figure that
Yeah,
out
those high
later.
quality art assets.
Yes, exactly. We'll figure that one out later. Maybe it will happen. Is it still kind of lagging a little bit? Hopefully, it doesn't really show up on stream. Maybe. No, probably. But game number 2 on King Sejong Station. In the top left is the blue Protoss. It's Axiom's Crank.
And his opponent spawning in the bottom right hand corner of the map as the red Zerg player and currently up 1 and 0, or sorry, down 0 and 1. Wait, no, up 1 and 0. He held in that last game. It is Penguin.
Yes, it is.
It is early in the morning, Zombie Grove.
It is a little early, and then we also got up early to watch Pro League, so all those forgiven.
Right? Oh man, I'm on like 2.5 hours of sleep right now.
Yeah.
I was just excited about Elite League and Pro League. I was excited about both of them.
Yeah, for sure. So, this game, we actually have Penguin going for a drone scout. Pretty early. He might be a little paranoid that since an all-in didn't work, maybe a cannon rush would. I mean, your Overlord gets there kind of
Yeah.
quick on this map, so it's well, it's odd to see.
I feel like Penguin's been a little bit afraid of Crank going for some kind of cheese because
What a
again, like
weird.
last game, it was a 4-player map, so he kind of was just scouting around his base rather than going straight for his opponent. But on a 2-player map, I mean, you can get a better sense of whether or not your opponent's about to cheese you
Uh,
just by sending your drone across the map. Whereas on a 4-player map, like it takes a little while. You're probably better off just scouting around your base.
yeah. I did see the Forge go down though, a lot earlier than this Overlord would, so I guess that was actually pretty worth it. It does throw down
Yeah.
the pool as opposed to the hatchery. He did look like he was going to either take the hatchery and then realize, oh wait, that's a forge, or maybe he was thinking about proxy hatching, but no, just that doesn't even block.
That's a
Why?
that's
Well,
I guess he can cannon. Okay, because I mean he
yeah.
does have the forge there, and he knows that Penguin sees the forge. So maybe he's trying to scare him into not taking his hatchery right now.
Oh, he's gonna go for it. Oh, but the drones are already pulled. The lings are
Oh,
about to be out. He would actually have to just, wall himself off completely, or really overinvest in the
oh,
cannons.
oh, that was really close. Crank has to be so careful with that probe. He's gonna get surrounded, but he mineral walks on through, and this cannon is not gonna finish.
No. And lings actually aren't even being produced. Penguin figures that he's got this down fine.
Wow.
Oh, cancel.
Well,
Cancel.
I I actually wondering if that was kind of worth it because I mean he did pull off I think what it was almost 8 or 9 drones, like more than half the economy right now of Penguin. So for the cost of like a pylon and a canceled cannon, that wasn't actually too bad.
Yeah. Technically, he will deny some type of mining should Penguin uh, transfer over his workers, but actually, the lings are gonna kill it before that happens. Again, the Overlord just right on top of Crank's business. Get out,
Sees
please.
those gas guys just going down. Sees that this is not going to be a 5 gateway with no warp gate all in. There
Dude.
is in fact going to be gas mined.
Okay, I don't know about the null warp gate all in, but there have been people who are doing like a fake nexus, I like to call it. Like they
Oh
still get the
yeah.
nexus, but they don't probe at all, and they forgate behind it. I think it's dirty.
That's an old school strat. That's like an MC versus Lenok from 2011 strat. There was do you remember the 5 gate Nexus cancel all in? Where back when like 3 gate expands were the standard
Oh
in PvZ?
yeah. Yes, I do.
Like he did it in like a GSL finals against I think it was Lenok. Or no, it may have been July. I think he did it against July Zerg. And everyone was doing it on the ladder for the following like 3 like months. Oh, that was the most annoying build ever. And I'm saying that as a Protoss player.
That was a terrible time, all right? That was a time with four gates everywhere in every matchup. The depth of PvZ was like, is he four gating or is he not? I can't tell. I'm gonna guess. It just, oh, it was
Oh,
terrible. But now it's at a much better state in Heart of the Swarm, despite what I guess other people might say. Crank is gonna go for a Stargate. He went for a Stargate last time. He got an Oracle, and then he just, gateway all in. Not sure why. Maybe he wanted to open up these series with aggression, try and take control of the pacing, but it did not work out.
yeah, and honestly, I think that this is, at least to me, it smells less of a gateway all-in, just because normally if you're gonna go for some kind of like a gateway all-in following up with the Oracle, you're at least going for like maybe a +1 weapons or something that adds a lot of value. And considering Crank went for the Forge first, I feel like it seems he's more likely to try and transition out, get a third expansion and everything to follow this up.
I kind of hope so, but it's all about these gas geysers.
Hmm.
Last time, Penguin didn't actually scout the gas geysers. I don't think so. He just had an Overlord fly through, and his Ling saw some gateways as well, so that, told him what he needed to know. But with this Overlord right here, like, unless Crank takes that out, it's such an easy scout. Like, no. Oh, well, he's also seen the third. So that's also an easy scout. This Ling sees the third, and now he knows. Okay, there goes the gases as well.
But there's actually no anti-air from Crank right now. Like the only anti-air he actually has are cannons. These overlords are actually not going to get picked off for quite a bit of time until the Void Ray finally pops out.
Yeah. Void would be very useful for not only killing the overlords over his bases, but also for any roach defense. Obviously
Hmm.
Penguin's not going to have any mobile anti-air, so it's very good for helping out an attack or in defending this nice little third. Very
Hmm.
cool.
Well, Oracle's been dancing around, kind of poking and prodding, but it hasn't managed to actually get any kills just yet. So far, Penguin has had a pretty good defense, has a Spore Caller and a Queen at every base. Um, Throwing up a couple of additional gas guys in the main base while he gets up his lair tech. I'm curious what kind of tech he wants to go for this game. Because, I mean, last game we really didn't get a chance to see what Penguin wanted to really do against Crank. Because, again, he was kind of just stuck on Roaches and Zerglings because he was getting all in.
Yeah, kind of, there's not much more straightforward than that. Oracle is trying to do something. If it's not doing any real damage, at least it's getting scouting. Hasn't actually seen any tech buildings yet. In fact, the Roach Warren comes down so late because you didn't need it until now. You didn't need emergency roaches to deal with the gateway all, and you saw that he expanded. And it looks like Crank is going to go ahead and gear up for a +2 Blink Stalker. Pressure, attack, maybe +3 all in, I don't know. But this is just so popular in PvZ now that I'm actually might be getting a little tired of it. I usually love Blink Stalkers, but this is like the only build they do when they go 3 base.
Yeah, it's honestly just like a really strong build, but he does need to add on a couple more gateways. Right now, I mean, off of 3 bases, he's only sitting on what, 6 warp gates. We're definitely gonna need to see a couple more added on if he wants to make this be a really, really strong attack. But Warp Prism's coming out, and well, Penguin's getting decent scout off to see like the sentries. He sees the Void Rays and obviously the third expansion. So, what is Penguin gonna be doing? Because he's making a good number of units now.
Well, there's a Spire on the way. He has not invested anything into Roaches, no Hyacinth as well. The Oracle does spot it. It also puts on a Revelation. This is nice because it'll scout if the Spire was canceled. Not something you usually see, but
Yeah,
it could have been a possibility.
I think that's actually a really, really smart decision because there's always like the chance, especially when you're up against a Zerg player, there's always this paranoia of what tech are you going, and are you going to make an absurd number of Mutalisks or what something else? Because I mean, you actually see right now, Penguin's throwing down an infestation pit. He could very easily have just said, okay, well, I'm gonna cancel the Spire and go for Swarm Hosts instead. But at least now he knows that the Spire was actually made, but Zerg's trying to get a big run into the natural expansion, not quite able to get it. Going after the third expansion, Photon Overcharge gets thrown down, and Zerg's for the most part going to be pushed back.
Yeah, very nice defense from Crank right here. Penguin, neither player really has that big of an army. They're both being really greedy right now, getting a lot of tech, getting a lot of drones. Penguin he's not being greedy in that, he's getting a bunch of stuff. He's actually being greedy in that he's not getting a lot of stuff. He has 1,700 in the bank
Yeah.
for both his minerals and his gas, and he
Oh.
does decide to go for those swarm hosts.
Yeah, and I think that Crank, this is actually what we were talking about. Like, it's almost as if Penguin had canceled that Spire. Because normally, like, yeah, if you aren't playing this greedy, going for that Spire, it sucks to lose that on that much gas. And you're like, well, maybe I should just go with the Mutalisk anyways. But when both of the players are playing this passively and kind of getting up their economies, he can just kind of make that Spire and go for the Swarm Host. And Crank has a misread on the situation right now. He's just producing a lot of Phoenix, or he was a second ago at least, just double Stargating out Phoenix.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he saw that Spire, and he can't underreact to a Spire,
Yeah.
so he did invest a lot. Well, he invested some into it, but luckily he had recognized that, okay, the mutas maybe, they could have already been around right now, so where are they?
Hmm.
Maybe they're not coming.
That's a good point.
Yeah, which is a really nice,
Ooh.
read by Crank. And these Phoenixes aren't necessarily entirely a waste. They'll take down Lings on watchtowers, Overlords, I suppose, as well.
And it's also just nice to have 3 Phoenix out because if there is that transition, because the Spire's still there, right? Even if Penguin's not going for the Mutalisk right now, having the Spire means that you want to have at least a couple of Phoenix prepared just to do any kind of extra kiting if your army does get caught out of position.
Yeah.
Well, I think Crank should be getting close to maxed out sometime in the next couple of minutes, and with +3 weapons finishing up and the Colossus coming out, which I think is also a really good read by Crank. You were talking about how the Mutals weren't out just yet, so Crank probably has a good idea of what's going on, and I think that pretty much almost instantly, as soon as he stopped producing Phoenix, he started making more Colossus. But there's another warp in the main base.
Is huge. Kills a queen. It's gonna get probably a lot of tech buildings. He's running
Oh,
back
God.
with these lings, but they're not incredibly well upgraded. They have 1 versus just the +2, almost +3 of the zealots. But Crank was also
Oh my
moving
God,
out with
that
his
hive.
army, but he was caught by surprise by
hive.
swarm hosts. Oh, and he
Oh,
transfused.
the tech is gonna go down.
He didn't really get anything from it. I think he was trying to get Vipers, but didn't actually invest into them.
The Vipers are actually super important, especially when you're up against, especially when you have a very Swarm host based composition, and you're going to be up against a Protoss player that's actually already started their Colossus. You really want to be able to pull those Colossus in, because, I mean, other than that, what do you really do? Like, I guess maybe get Corruptors out to try and snipe off the Colossus? I don't know.
Yeah, it looks to be his backup plan. His 6 Corruptors are on the way.
Mm-hmm.
He got pretty much every upgrade that he could. He got the Overlord upgrades. He's getting all the +1s that he can for Flyer, Missile, Melee too. It's like he hasn't really decided what exactly he wants to do quite yet. But I almost like it this way. Instead of getting 30 Swarm Hosts, he's only at 15, which isn't really that much. You get, some Swarm Hosts, which apply a little bit of pressure in one area, and then you run around with Lings and Roaches, and it's more fun, and it also taxes the multitasking a lot more of the Protoss player.
Yeah. And we actually saw Penguin pick off that War Prism that was trying to go back in for round 2 over in the mid base. Maybe try and snipe off a Infestation Pit or 2 or something. But for now, Crank is going to be just securing that 4th expansion. And Penguin, I think he has knowledge of it going up. Yeah, he does have knowledge of it going up. Is he going to put on much pressure right now? As of now, looks like his Sword Muscle just kind of more in a defensive stance, protecting his own 4th expansion.
Oops.
Yeah, I don't even really know, Zombie. Like, if either of these players should feel comfortable going out and attacking. Like, Crank is almost maxed out, but I'm not sure how I feel about him moving out for a big full-on engagement right now.
I don't think he knows either. I mean, he took down the Hive, but he had no idea if anything was made with it. Any tech structures of the Vipers are already made, so he needs maybe more scouting to see exactly what's going to come out. We do have Infestors about to pop, I think perfectly timed up with the Patching Glands, yes. These Zealots, they went on a trek, man. They killed a lot of rocks to get over there and do absolutely nothing. Ooh.
Yeah, well, Crank is moving in from the backside, knock down those rocks, and now going in. Oh, immediate recall out. The Corruptors almost got that Mothership Core. Oh my god, that Mothership Core has 4 health left. Oh, wow, that was really close. The Zealots on the other side of the map do get well, I want to say they get picked off by these Roaches, but +3 weapon Zealots with charge, they actually do pretty well against these Roaches.
Yeah, they took down a lot of Roaches with them. Of course, there was not really a lot of micro from Penguin. He was busy elsewhere trying to attack this 4th. The Oracle goes down, not before putting Revelation on. Not that he has Tempest to really abuse it.
Oh no, Phoenix, you don't want to do that fight. Well, I can see he wasn't really using the Phoenix right now, but the Phoenix would have been nice for, hold that thought. Actually, we have another Zealot warp in. The Warp Prism is back, and in the main base, he has warped in an absolute metric ton of Zealots. And this time, the Swarmos are so far out of position, he's not going to be able to actually react to this for a really long time.
Yeah, he doesn't really have a lot of those ground units I was talking about. Well, actually, no, they're coming back right now. This will be enough Roaches. The Vipers also pop out, so Crank knows now that they're here. He's already had High Templars for a really long time, though. The Warp Prism could actually maybe survive. Not anymore.
Oh my god. Crank is actually doing a great job just putting on harassment in a ton of different places because he knows all of the mobile units, the Roaches, are in the main base. So now he has one Zealot chipping away at that 5th expansion. He's moving in with the main army over at the 4th expansion, which actually gets fungal growth. Less than ideal. But he also had some Zealots moving into the 3rd expansion. So I like the idea of Crank trying to just pull Penguin apart, especially against that Swarm Host style. I'm not sure if it worked out well enough for him, though. It'll be nice if he gets his 5th.
I was wondering where those High Templars were, and they're lagging behind. They could have taken down, I feel, a lot of the infestors that were killing the Blink Stalkers, but they were lazy. I don't know where they were. The fifth does go down for Penguin, whereas Crank, his fifth actually goes up. He's actually going to be on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bases, and none of them actually in the most common spot, which is right here. Usually in PvZ, I mean, you have this fight where the Protoss takes this one, the Zerg takes this one, and then like Broodlords versus Tempest, but
Well, yeah, it's really interesting because now we're gonna end up seeing that transition that I always like to see, where in the early game you always talk about Zerg want to be up on bases, but when you have that swarm hosting Zerg player, oftentimes the Protoss player is the one that's going to be throwing away a lot of, like, say, the mineral heavy units like Zealots and everything, and they're actually going to be the ones that want to make sure they're up on bases because they have a slightly more mobile army also to defend those bases. But Penguin looks like he's finally starting to put on a little bit more pressure. He's moved his Swarmos up just a tad to try and attack this fourth expansion.
oh no! Mothership Core! Okay.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, it was trying to turn into a mothership, and he saw that with the locusts, and he just nipped that right in the bud. But that is something that Crank will surely want to include in this army. A lot of DTs being warped in, going to clean up the roaches, and then hopefully for Crank, wreak havoc. But there's spore crawlers in the main bases. Oh, he could just get a
Oh, if
cancel.
those DTs turn around, they could go after those Swarmos.
Oh, that would have been bad.
Oh.
Oh, with the fungals, nah, they probably could have gotten a few, but they instead go for the fifth.
Oh yeah, and that's one of the beautiful things of being a
Oh,
Protoss
the
player.
infestors! Oh no, the
Oh
infestors,
my God, the
please!
corruptors!
Notice! Oh, there's so much things happening.
All the Corruptors get stormed, the Infestors also under attack, and the Colossus are actually getting picked off in really heavy numbers, but I don't know, like, these two players just traded so many expensive units in those past 20 seconds, Zombie Grub.
Yeah, there's so many things happening, but he lost I think all of his infestors of those DTs because they're still going.
Oh, God.
I mean, that was like 10 plus infestors maybe, and the DTs are
doesn't
still
have
being
any-
warped in.
He doesn't have any Infestors anymore, and actually, yeah, those DTs are still actually doing a little bit of harassment over the third expansion. Now the army moving, they're catching the Swarmos completely out of position. They're not a burrow, they don't have any kind of backup support, and at the same time, we had a couple of Zealots trying to move into the natural expansion. This game is all over the place.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Crank didn't push in. I don't know where Penguin's 180 army supply is. I mean, I'm looking at his army right now, and it does not look fearsome whatsoever. He does have 12 in production and 7 more roaches, but dang if that doesn't look that good. I mean, no infestors, the Vipers, are they really adding a lot? I don't know.
It's like there's just a mix of too many units from Penguin. And he has just a couple of everything. Like 19 Roaches, I think, is taking up a lot of supply. And then you have 24 Corruptors. That's like an absurd number of Corruptors. And then where's the ground army, really? It's 9 Swarm hosts and maybe 4 Vipers to actually help out a little bit on the ground. And then I guess the 19 Roaches. I don't think that I like Penguin's unit composition right now against what God, the scary army that Crank has.
Well, those roaches are attacking Crank's 5th. They might actually get it killed.
Yeah, the Mothership Core was reproduced, I know, but it's a mothership and it's sitting over on the other side of the map, so there's no recall potential. That's definitely going to go down.
Yeah, that's a nice pick off. And Penguin, I mean, despite what looked like a terrible fight, he lost all his infestors, he was losing free swarm host, he's still maxed out. His bank is not as big as Crank's, and that's really where he's lacking right now, but that can be easily changed if you just don't take that many engagements. Just rely on your locusts.
Yeah, and also just kind of taking it slow, and now we end up seeing Penguin's trying to take this more right-hand expansion. And I really like that decision, because you think about it, he's taking out the expansion from Crank on the left side of the map. So theoretically, his Swarmos really shouldn't have to be on the left side of the map that much. They can really kind of sit on the right side of the map, put pressure on that 4th expansion of Crank, and also defend that right-hand expansion that he's taking right now.
I think locusts are going to kill Crank's new 5th.
Oh my god.
So Crank is back down to, let's see, like
Effectively
2...
one mining base, right?
Almost. His natural's almost mined out. His 3rd is, you know, really oversaturated.
Oh! Big engagement going on in the center.
Oh,
Colossus
storms.
being pulled, but those storms! Oh my god! What on earth? Where exactly does Penguin live right now? Because it is rainy weather all day, every day. Those Corruptors somehow manage to survive, though. They're going to be able to slowly regenerate their health if they're given time to, but I mean, they've done their job. They've killed all the Colossus.
It's almost like better if Crank didn't go to Colossus, though. I mean, there's so many corruptors in the air. He needs them to deal with the Swarm
Oh,
Host,
yeah.
unless he just avoids the Swarm Host, which I think is what he's trying to do.
Hmm.
It would have been awesome if he had been able to get the kill on this space right here and then recalled out, but his mothership wasn't with his army.
Yeah, I think that Crank it'd really behest him right now to keep that mothership core with his army. I think it was kind of nice because he had it with the fourth by the fourth expansion, so he was cloaking all of his photon cannons and everything. So Locusts really weren't able to do a whole lot, even if they did get to that fourth expansion. But now, I think there's a lot of value in just keeping it with his army.
We have Broodlords on the way.
Well, we already have multiple Tempests out for right now for Crank.
Yeah, I don't really
don't know
like
how well that
Broodlords. I've never liked Broodlords. I rarely like Ultralists too, to be honest. They just seem to always lose them games.
Never go to Hive Tech. Never go full Hive.
Yeah, pretty much never go full Hive. Get it for upgrades, but not for anything else you get a Hive for.
I'd love to see that on a t-shirt. But right now, Crank is going to be pushing into this right-hand expansion. The Swarmos, I mean, they're sitting in the center of the map. They could eventually get some units over to this Protoss force, but the mothership is actually finally there with them, so the Locusts aren't going to be able to do anything, really. Although it does get actually pulled and taken out almost immediately. No recall going to be available. Storm's going down top of
many
Corruptors.
storms. Oh my god, one more! Oh, that would have been so many
Every
Corruptors!
time.
Oh, but they don't regenerate nearly as fast as Mutas, right? So they're always going to be this
Yeah.
injured. I mean, for a long time. Oh, unless you turn into Broodlords.
Well, a couple of Zealots actually continuing to do some harassment over by that bottom left-hand expansion of Penguin. And I like that Crank has been continuing to put this pressure on. I mean, it does get cleaned up by the Spawn Crawlers and the Queens, but it's just really awesome to see Crank always trying to find another angle to also put on a little bit of pressure and make sure that Penguin is taking damage. Even if Penguin takes a decent engagement, he still has to worry about losing too much at one of these harassment angles.
Oh, these Corruptors are, they're low, but the Broodlord's really what's scary. Oh, the storm! Oh, okay, I didn't quite reach for the storms, I guess.
Well, he's throwing a couple storms down on the Broodlords. He's doing some really good damage over there. Oh my god. How does Crank have so many storms all the time? I feel like I'm watching Grubby right now.
But he's finally run out of them. No High Templars on the field anymore. Crank has actually depleted that huge bank that he had. I think it was 3k, 1k. Tries to go on top of the Broodlords. That was actually effective.
The Locusts, it's effective, but he has to back out once those Locusts pop, and he's going to have to back up. He still has one Tempest alive, and actually with all the Corruptors taken out, I feel like
he should turn around.
Yeah, just stick that one Tempest on the Broodlords for now.
Yeah, of course he doesn't know that now. Oh, that was actually good fungal.
Oh, that is a really good fungal. These Broodlords are going to have absolute joy day picking up all these Stalkers, and
Bye-bye.
more Tempest coming out right now for Crank, but this is a scary army making its way across the map, Zombie Grub.
Yeah, but without Corruptors, how scary is it really? The scariest thing for anti-air are like a couple of Queens and like Infested Terrans, I think. So if he gets if he gets up to 6 Tempests, he will eventually kill this entire army.
Right, and honestly, like Infested Terrans, they haven't really been that popular anyways, but Tempests actually have a really high base armor as well. Like, it's really, really hard for Marines or Infested Terrans or anything of the sort to actually do a lot of damage to Tempest. Crank at the same time, also, he's like continuing to put on this pressure over at the bottom left-hand expansion. The Swarm Hosts look like they could be able to take out this expansion over in the center for Crank. I don't know.
If he had focused. Well, he's going to take it down now with the second wave.
Yeah.
But this is all buying time. If Crank is down to one base, that obviously is bad, but...
He just lost all of his Tempest, though, to the Corruptors.
Oh, the DTs are getting a lot of the Swarm Hosts. Oh, there's the fungal.
Nice fungal growth. All those Broodlords immediately firing out. You're like, we got you, DT! And suddenly it's like, what do we do now?
Where is the army? There it is. I guess he's still waiting. I'm not sure what he's waiting on. He doesn't have any money to make anything else.
Crank doesn't have that much. Like, he doesn't have much of an economy left
Oh,
over
the
anymore.
Broodlords. Yeah, that's true. But these Tempests could be his life.
Oh god, but they're fungal growth right now, and the Corruptors are getting on top of them. doing some good damage. One of the Tempests has already fallen. Another Tempest has already fallen. There's still a decent number of Broodlords left, but the blink goes on underneath the Broodlords.
Oh, the Queens were really late to the party. They had a couple of transfuses that could have changed things, but I think that Penguin
Oh.
is still going to survive. You know, Crank chose to try and blink on top of the Broodlords. He might have been better focus firing to make sure his Tempest didn't die.
Yeah, I think those Tempests were a really, really important part right now. And yeah, focus firing down those Corruptors to keep them alive. That would have delayed and bought him a little bit more time. But oh god, at the same time, Penguin also moved in with his Roach Force over the left-hand side, canceling that expansion once again. He's still killing off more and more probes. Actually, even if Crank is able to establish an expansion, he's down to 22 workers. He can't even fully saturate one base anymore.
Crank has to have a miracle engagement. I feel like if he still had 4 Tempests, I would feel so much better for him. But with only Blink Stalkers, he would have to catch everything out of, like, extremely out of position. But if it happens, Penguin doesn't have a great of an economy either.
Oh, the Stalkers are moving forward. They're trying to pick off at
Oh,
least
this
a
isn't gonna
queen or
work.
something,
Oh,
but-
mistakes were made. Mistakes were made with Fungals.
Oh my god, he got out of there with more Stalkers than I thought he would.
Yeah, me
I guess-
too.
Not enough infestors with enough energy to chain the fungal growths together, but you know, we're talking about how Crank doesn't really have an economy and doesn't really have many units. He needs a miracle engagement, but at the same time, I mean, Penguin also doesn't have that much of an economy right now. He's actually mined out of almost every single base. He has 2 mineral patches left over
Yeah.
at this center expansion.
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal.
Oh, the DTs!
Oh, the DTs! Where's the Overseer? Where's the Fungals?
Oh my god, he only has Spore Crawlers over there, and the Swarmos are running away from the Oh no, they're running away from the Spore Crawlers!
Hell, he gets 1 Fungal down, but he doesn't have anything to kill it. Oh, there's an attack happening. Oh, he gets a couple of Broodlords. He's losing a lot. I don't know who's it better for.
Oh my god, amazingly enough, the Spore Crawler's chasing away the Colossus.
He's
That
getting
worked out
so many.
surprisingly well,
Oh, these
but-
DTs are gonna save Crank.
Oh my god, whenever, at every single point in time, get Dark Templar, because they can save you games, even the late game. Even if your opponent has Spore Crawlers and Detection, you can still make miracles happen with them. And he's gonna keep those DTs alive. He can send this down to that newly established expansion for Penguin.
Yeah, and he definitely should. There's an Overseer, so unless he gets a couple of Stalkers over there, he can't just snipe the Detection and then snipe the hatchery. So
Yeah, the Roaches are there too. I think Penguin's thinking like, okay, that was not the best engagement. How can I lose this game? Yeah, losing this expansion. Let's defend that.
yeah. Actually, 2 Stalkers on the high ground. This is what Penguin has been doing to Crank with 2 Roaches. Would be very effective on this base.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, these 2 Roaches over here from Penguin are being quite annoying. I think they'll eventually kill off one of these gas geysers, but there's only 20 gas actually remaining in that gas geyser, so not going to be the biggest deal. Crank trying to push in once again, but God, I think these Spore Crawlers are actually causing trouble for Crank right now.
Yeah. His DTs. Oh, Overseer, please.
Oh.
Okay.
Blink forward. I don't know. This is working out very well. The Stalkers now, he's losing a lot of Stalkers. He managed to kill off 2 of the Broodlords, but at what cost, Zombie Grub? He ends up losing so much of his army. He can't resist it.
Oh my god.
Oh god, Zombie Grub, just imagine if Crank had enough money,
in.
just barely enough money to make 1 Tempest right now. 1 Tempest.
He would win the game. Oh man, if he actually. Oh no!